Welcome back, everyone, to another Fundraising News Podcast. You got myself, Matt Marino, Customer Success Manager, and then Peter Harris, member of our investment research team, here to dive into everything that's been going on this week across the industry. Also, just to note, today, Friday, September 19th, we are coming off a hot Boston happy hour event. I think close to 100 attendees throughout the night. So let's jump right into it. We'll get to some future cocktail events towards the end of the show. But Peter, take us away with some job and role changes that everyone should be aware of.
Matt, a lot of things happening in our capital markets. So Magdalena Gadzinska transitioned to UBS this month as vice chairman, EMEA, based in London. London is one of my favorite cities, by the way. Have you ever been to London?
I have not, no. Never been.
Highly recommend. She moved from KLI Asset Management, where she was a director, and now leverages her sales and leadership experience to help further UBS's objectives in that region.
Yeah.
John Kraft transitioned to JP Morgan Securities LLC in NYC as an analyst after serving as a summer intern. He previously worked at Lubert Adler and now builds on his early career experience to further the financial services industry. And then John Gamal Noshi Gadala joined Wells Fargo Advisors in Nashville, another great city, as a financial advisor after working at PNC Bank. Gadala continues to build on his experience in the financial sector to offer clients with tailored investment and advisory services.
I just saw one other come in hot off the press. It looks like, I'm pulling it up here, we just had someone join One Digital Investment Advisors, larger RIA, but Chadwick Rich came over from Catterick Grant and Company, joined One Digital. He is their principal senior client executive.
Wow.
So just note that, everyone there. But thank you, Peter. We'll keep it rocking and rolling with the M&A activity going on in the industry. And I think you even mentioned a couple financial advisors there, analyst movement too. So we're going to track this more from a firm lens and landscape. So a team of advisors from Commonwealth Financial Network registered EmVision Capital Advisors, an independent RIA based in Aurora, Ohio. Founding partners Michael Ambricia, James Artali, and Jonathan Opet own the firm through EMV Holdings and parent company M&D Financial. So EmVision reportedly oversees currently $850 million in client assets, which Artali told CityWire that the firm will actually operate on a multi-custodial model, working with LPL, Fidelity, and Schwab, the three big ones there. So congrats to them on the launch of that independent firm. Another one here, veteran investment executive Matthew Rice launched Vistamark Investments as an independent RIA based in Hinsdale, Illinois. Rice previously served as the CIO at First Business Bank, Goldstone Financial Group, and for nearly 2 decades, he spent his time with Fiducian Advisors. So a lot of experience, and now excited to see how this takes off with this new endeavor for him with Vistamark Investments. And the last one to call out here, out in Overland Park, Kansas. Last one to call out here, massive acquisition going on in the industry. It is crazy, the consolidation, truly. I mean, Creative Planning reportedly announced that they are in talks with the PE-backed SageView Advisory. I mean, SageView, close to a couple $100 million in assets under management, but they are in talks right now to join forces with Creative Planning. So the deal is yet to be finalized between the companies, but CEO John Longley with SageView has close to 1,700 institutional clients, 5,000 individual family clients, and Creative Planning, which of course is an even larger organization. I mean, they are in talks now to go through with an acquisition of some sort. So I'm sure we will have more information. We're going to be tracking that in real time. Matt Hurst, our whole editorial team, making sure every bit and piece of that talking point is being tracked on a daily basis. So more to come there, I'm sure. Let's pivot now over to the institutional landscape and call out a couple recent allocations that we've tracked.
I love the way you just phrased that, institutional landscape. And yeah, there is a lot going on in the institutional landscape. So we're going to give you a highlight in the great state of Texas. Houston Firefighters Relief and Retirement Fund approved increasing its commitment to Bridgepoint Direct Lending Fund 4 from up to $30 million to up to $40 million. So that's, I mean, obviously $10 million is a lot. This private credit partnership was presented by staff during the August 19th board meeting, and the motion passed with board approval. And again, just what we keep on seeing is this huge, insatiable appetite for direct lending, private credit, especially too, I think in like an investment landscape like Texas, a lot of oil and gas, a lot of capital intensive investments. So private credit, I feel like really fills that need. And now we're going to be going to Alaska. So the Alaska Retirement Management Board reported a $175 million for its total commitments it made in May and July. And that comprised of $100 million to Fortress Credit Opportunities Fund 6, $59 million to Sculptor Real Estate Fund 5, and $25 million to Great Hill Equity Partners Fund 9. The pension also placed 6 managers on its watch list: Bailey Gifford Jr., JP Morgan Strategic Property Fund, Man Group Alternative Risk Premia, Comvest, Crestland, and Capital Guardian. And they really cited the personnel changes, ownership transitions, and performance issues.
Yeah, so for anyone that's got a strategy, a fund, a solution that obviously directly competes with some of those managers there, definitely get in touch with Alaska Retirement Management Board if those 6 firms are on the hot seat right now.
Yeah, and another state another area, the Sacramento County Employees Retirement System. So they reported making 2 commitments totaling $100 million in August, split equally between Manulife Infrastructure Fund 3 and Acadian non-U.S. small cap developed equity strategy. The pension said the Acadian deal really just illustrates and reflects a strategy shift it's brought in its total investment in the mandate to approximately $195 million. And I think, Matt, one thing for me is, when really analyzing these decisions, obviously there's mandates that might not be clear, that might be unbeknownst to a lot of people. So it's really interesting kind of seeing these decisions and kind of the strategies and mandates they're trying to fulfill. So that takes us to searches.
Yeah, searches, mandates. I mean, these, of course, not only the commitments you ran through, the searches, the mandates, the pacing plans, everything, right, all encaptured in our platform, Dakota Marketplace. You ever need a refresher, reach out to myself, reach out to Peter here. Always happy to help on that. But yeah, 2 to call out. Going to Massachusetts, Norfolk County Retirement System, right around $1.4 billion in assets under management, working with Wainwright Investment Counsel from a consulting standpoint. But they issued an RFP for a U.S. core investment grade fixed income product that benchmarks to the Bloomberg Aggregate Bond Index. So the pension, which targets right about 15% to fixed income, expects to allocate roughly $40 million to this ultimate winner, and we'll consider SMAs and pooled funds, but not mutual funds. So just something to note there from a vehicle standpoint. October 14th, deadline. Make sure we track that. We get those proposals in. Hard deadline on the 14th. So from what I've heard too, the sooner the better. Not necessarily the case, but you just want to make sure you get that in prior to that deadline. Next one to call out, Illinois Police Officers Pension Fund. $14 billion in assets under management, actually just north of it with $14.83 billion. They use Veris from a consulting standpoint, also a little work with Alborn as well on the alt side. But they heard finalist presentations from 6 U.S. small cap equity managers, and they do plan to select 2 for allocations of approximately $210 million each. So I know a lot of talk with alts, privates, U.S. equities, right? Traditional managers, long only, still a hot topic and still a lot of opportunity there. Even here, Illinois looking for large tickets to be handed out to some small cap managers. So the board also reviewed some timelines for this. Active high yield bond and general consultant searches were discussed as well, with proposals ultimately due on September 12th. But as I mentioned, we're getting down to those 6 finalists with 2 winners. So just 2 searches there. If you see any others come across and you'd like to discuss them, of course, reach out to our team. But Peter, let's close it out here with, encapturing what all this means.
Yeah. So what does this all mean? And here are our takeaways for GPs and LPs, because we definitely have covered a lot and definitely some substantive input. So RIAs are consolidating, rolling up, and scaling at a record pace. And I think the launches of EmVision and Vistamark really underscore that experienced teams continue leaving wirehouses, national firms to form independent RIAs. And it's really this kind of, I think it's liberating for a lot of people to have that kind of creative liberty. And now, number 2, public pension allocations continue moving towards alternatives. And that's something you kind of really touched on, is like alts are just incredibly popular. It's seen as a way, I mean, even as evidenced by the push to allow people to invest some of their 401ks into alternatives like private equity and private credit. There just is a huge push for that. And then number 3, searches are really reflecting appetite for yield and active management. Norfolk's 40 million RFP for investment grade fixed income, and Illinois police officers 420 million U.S. small cap equity search really just illustrate this continuing demand for differentiated active strategies. 4, fundraising momentum is diverging by strategy, and it's really always interesting to see how fundraising momentum evolves in our really ever-changing capital markets, and that's been evidenced by LCM's deal and Brookfield's deal. And so what is the bottom line, the million-dollar question? Institutional capital is flowing into private credit, infrastructure, and specialized venture, while RIAs continue to consolidate into both mega platforms and emerging boutiques. For GPs, the message is abundantly clear. Scale and specialization both triumph, but middling strategies without differentiation risk being rotated out. So there's obviously a lot of competition here. And for LPs, it is a sobering reminder that manager selection and timing matter more than ever in this competitive, performance-driven market.
Love it. And I know, right, even that breakdown there, that summary, we're still doing a lot more on our side, right? Write-ups, blog posts, insights, right? What is going on in the market? And this is just a small synopsis here during these podcasts to fill you all in as much as we can. So always feel free to go to our website. We've got our resources tab, Dakota Insights. Peter's spending a ton of time in there. Our entire marketing team, the whole research team, right? Constantly every day dropping in new blog posts, breaking down cities, tracking alts trends, equities trends, and a lot of other great insights, just all in written format. And of course, anything you ever need from us, always feel free to reach out. But just to call it out, I know we always like to close it with these, just some cocktail events. We had Boston last night at the Boston Harbor Hotel. Paris will be next week on the 23rd. Our team's going out there for the IPIM conference. If anyone's out in Paris, please reach out to us. Our team would love to connect either at the conference, if you're going to it, or if you're based out of Paris, I mean, a coffee, lunch.
Or some croissants. I mean, yeah.
Some croissants as well, yes, with a coffee, of course. Or just swing by our happy hour at the Ritz Paris on the 23rd, kicking off at 5:30. And then Denver on the 7th, San Fran on the 14th, Toronto on the 28th. I'll be up there for that one. We're still working to get Peter up to Toronto for that event. May have to start a GoFundMe here. Chicago on the 5th as well of November. But like always, join us for these events. Join us for all of our webinars. Roberto, our entire studio team does a great job. So anything you need, let us know. But appreciate the time like always. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
This episode is brought to you by Dakota Marketplace. Are you tired of constantly jumping between multiple databases and channels to find the right investment opportunities? Introducing Dakota Marketplace, the comprehensive institutional and intermediate database built by fundraisers for fundraisers. With Dakota Marketplace, you'll have access to all channels and asset classes in one place, saving you time and streamlining your fundraising process. Say goodbye to the frustration of searching through multiple databases, websites, Form ADVs, and say hello to a seamless and efficient fundraising experience. Sign up now and see the difference Dakota Marketplace can make for you. Visit dakota.com/Dakota-Marketplace today.